I'm Catherine Weddle with HOMTV, and today I'm here with Deborah Guthrie, the Meridian Township Clerk, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Township's 2022 goals. So could you start by just telling me what the process is like creating this list of goals and what it's like deciding what areas to focus on?
So each year, Meridian Township sets out to put together a set of goals, which is basically projects that are outside the normal scope of the day-to-day operations that Meridian Township provides its residents. And so typically the process is that the township manager meets with the leadership team, and the leadership team discusses certain projects that are before them for the upcoming year. And they discuss projects they're basically enhancement projects for the township, things that make the township better, if you want to think of it that way, outside of those day-to-day operations. And so the management team puts that together, and they meet with staff and discuss how these projects are going to get done, what the plan of action will be. And then that is brought to the township board. Now, the township board, they may also have a list of projects that they would like to see done in the community as well. And so they will share those with the township manager, and they will have a meeting to discuss that. And so typically the leadership team, the directors of the departments, they present goals and objectives for their individual departments, and they may provide a presentation to the board discussing what those projects are, why they think they're important for the community, and sometimes they may have steps to get those projects done. They may have things already in the works, like some of our road projects that are happening this year. They may have some grant opportunities, some financial obligations to be able to meet those goals. And so the board will discuss what those goals are, and the board will present some of the goals that they're interested in for the Meridian Township residents. And then after that, typically it's a special township board meeting where the township board just discusses goals and objectives for the upcoming year only. And so it's sort of like a workshop in that regard. And then at the next township board meeting, the board will discuss those goals, and subsequently, if there's any changes or modifications, and then they will take action on those goals. And sometimes goals get eliminated or added or modified slightly.
Definitely. So you say it's not a set list. Things change as you go. You guys work with things as they go.
Pretty much. Sometimes, we sort of know. For instance, I'll take one of the first goals is the infrastructure goals for Meridian Township. That includes the MDOT project along Grand River. It includes the Camelback Bridge, which is a historic bridge, and it's going to be replaced this year because it is crumbling apart from the bottom. And so it is becoming a danger and a hazard for our residents. And that's a county project. And then we have the local road enhancement project, which is a project that was approved by voters to pay millage to have neighborhood roads complete, to be fixed, to be not only to be fixed, but to be repaired, to be restored, to be enhanced, all those kinds of things. So while Meridian Township doesn't own any roads, we're not in charge of the road system. Grand River is a state road. And so Grand River is maintained, owned, and operated by MDOT. But it doesn't mean that Meridian Township doesn't have a say in enhancements along Grand River. For instance, this year, our our leadership team, our Department of Public Works Director, Derek Perry, and our Township Manager, Frank Walsh, they worked with MDOT to get a left turn signal at Central Park and Grand River. It was much needed. If you've ever tried to go turn left onto Grand River off of Central Park Drive, you would have been sitting there for quite a long time waiting to be able to do that without a left turn signal. So there are certain ways in which our departments communicate with MDOT saying these are the needs of our community. And I know that our Department of Public Works Director Derek Perry worked with MDOT for quite a long time to discuss the issues along Grand River right across the street from Playmakers, where the sidewalk had been sinking, the road had been sinking, and there were a number of fix-it things that Meridian Township had been doing over time in that area, but it was inevitable that MDOT needed to come along, or needs to come along, and fix that section. And so we will be seeing that happening this year, along with the county replacing that bridge on Okemos Road. So those are some pretty major projects that are going to be happening. And so our Department of Public Works team will be working with our communications team to effectively communicate to the residents what is happening throughout this year, because there's going to be a lot of detours. This work on Okemos Bridge starts on February 14th. So this is right around the corner, and there's going to be a lot of communication effort by our communications team and marketing team to let the residents know what's happening where traffic is being redirected, how to reroute their morning and afternoon commutes and go get lunch. The businesses are going to be affected by this, and they'll work with our economic development director, Amber Clark, to discuss ways in which they can communicate supporting those local businesses affected by these road, what's happened with this construction. So it is a township board goal. It's an easy goal because it's on our to-do list, but it sort of goes beyond the scope of, well, this is what they're doing, and into how we're going to communicate with them on getting this done, and how we're going to work together as a team to communicate that to our residents. So that's just kind of one example.
Absolutely. Okay, so obviously you already went over road construction, but there are a lot of goals on your guys' list this year. So are there any that stand out that are more important or more important at this time, things that you're going to be focusing on first?
I would say diversity, equity, inclusion. I would say diversity, equity, inclusion is one of the biggest goals on the list, and it is the second goal that's listed. And we have, one of the things that we want to do here in Meridian Township is encourage diversity on our team, and to create ways in which we effectively work together so that our team feels included and inclusive. If you've ever seen the play Hamilton, if you haven't, I encourage you to see it. But if you have, one of the best lines in that musical is, "I wanna be in the boardroom when it happens." And it's repeated over and over again about being in the boardroom when decisions are made, when things happen. And, I was just thinking about that earlier this morning because it's Black History Month, and the Meridian Township Board passed a resolution commemorating Black History Month. And I was thinking about that this morning because I was thinking about this movie my husband and I recently watched, where there weren't diverse voices in the boardroom when decisions were made. And And a result of that, it's called the Long Walk, starring Whoopi Goldberg. And basically what happened is a decision was made where Blacks couldn't ride the bus in Montgomery, Alabama. And so they subsequently had to walk to their jobs. And so there they are walking in the rain, walking in the mud, walking in heels, miles to get to their job. And so if you don't have a voice at the table, like what happened there, then it's hard to represent your community or your race or your gender or whoever you identify with, to have that voice and say, wait a second, this is not a good idea. We need to ride the bus. This is not a good idea. We need free bus rides on election day, which our CATA bus system does. I mean, it was like little things about equity and inclusion and being equitable. And I think Meridian Township's made some great strides in that area. And our HR department is working with Michigan State University on providing DEI training on a monthly basis, and working with our staff to implement those kinds of things. So I think that's one of the things to diversify. If you look at the makeup of our boards and commissions overall, it's mostly Caucasian. And so if we want to work together as a community to diversify the representation of voices on our boards and commissions, I think it's important to hear those voices, and for us to work collectively to reach out to our community members to get more and encourage more diverse voices on our boards and commissions. So I think that's important.
Absolutely. You guys also talk a lot about community engagement for the year. So could you go a little bit more into depth about that and what your plans are?
So could you be a little more specific, because I could go on and on about community engagement.
By community engagement, is this going to be more events for the community? Is it going to be new ways for the community to engage, to be more part of the decision making?
Yeah. So I think I'm looking over here at the community engagement, the points that the board passed, and I think it's really incumbent upon our communications team. This is going to be a lot of work on their effort to work with not only the community on how they would like to be engaged with the township, kind of like what I said regarding being on boards and commissions, being engaged in that way in making policy decisions that affect our residents, our neighborhoods, our wetlands, our environment, all of those important things. Not only being engaged in policy decision making, but also being engaged in communication. And so, I have a communications degree, and I've seen a breakdown in communications at all levels, from parent-child to mother-father to husband-wife to teams within working environments, to all kinds of different relationships. And communicating it's really one of the hardest things you can do. I'm sure someone will watch this, and I'm trying to be inclusive of everyone, and someone may be offended, and I may have come across wrong. They may take something wrong. And so communicating takes a huge amount of effort. And our communications team, in their marketing and on social and their print in the Primary Magazine that they'll be sending out to homes, with the televising of the board and commission meetings, all of those things involve community engagement. And, I want to hear from residents as much as possible. And I think our leadership team and our staff, we want to hear from residents how best we can serve them. And I think the first thing that our communications team here at the township has already done is they put together a community engagement survey, and they sent that out for people to take part in the survey. So if anybody's watching this, and I'm not sure how long the survey will be out there, I've already taken the survey, but I would encourage people in the community to look for that survey on the township website, and look for that survey on the social media pages, on the Meridian Township Facebook page, and communicate ways in which they would like to be engaged with the township and involved with the township. So I hope that answers your question without running around it. But engagement is really a two-way street, and being able to be a prime community. It's not staff alone. It's not board members who are elected and park commission members who are elected. It's not the appointed officials. It's everyone. It's all of the people in the community. It's our children, it's our mothers, our fathers, our local business owners, it's our big box stores, it's everyone engaging together to ensure that we continue to have a prime community for our residents, our visitors, and our businesses.
Absolutely. So this next question might be a little tough, but
okay.
What do you think? What do you think the board learned in 2021 that's going to help them achieve their goals in 2022?
Ooh. Good question. Oh, this is a tough one. I think, I think we learned in 2021 with economic development in our downtown business districts that we really need to spend time making sure that these business districts don't fail and that they move forward. I think we learned from changes that were proposed to be made to downtown Okemos, where the board sat in regards to representing the desires of the public, and that the board was going to continue to work with developers in downtown Okemos to make sure that the desires of the public that vision is carried out in downtown Okemos. So while it's taking way longer, we learned in 2021 where we want that vision to be, and now it's about how can we carry that out. And part of that process is before the board in the redevelopment ready community, in looking at becoming redevelopment ready certified again. And so in our first board meeting of the year, that's something that we talked about, and how that could assist in the development of downtown Okemos and other areas in the township. And so I think we learned a lot from that. I also think we learned in regards to DEI that we need to do more, and that we need to have more conversations. And I think our HR department is fantastic, and they have already led the way in that regard. And they have set up monthly meetings, and they are making sure that this is a top priority for them. And you have to realize, our HR department is our HR director and our payroll, the person who processes payroll. And so you have someone, it's short staffed in that regard. And so, Abby Tehoff, she's fantastic HR director, and she is really making strides and making sure that we have these monthly meetings and talk about DEI issues. And it's hard when you have high turnover, and recruitment and retention, and she's working on all of those things, and she has 4 union contracts open this year, and she'll be looking at that too. So this is a lot. This is a lot on one person, and so I got to give her kudos, because HR is not always the favorite position, right? They hear everything, so I got to give her props, and I think she's really making strides in that direction this year.
Great. So, are there any events or plans that you are most excited for this year?
I think because of COVID, we haven't really discussed that many events, township-wide type of events, where we would bring hundreds of people together. For me, as township clerk, since I organized the Memorial Day event, that's of course one of my favorites to put together. I already had a call from the Meridian Community Band wanting to participate, and we have a veteran who comes out and speaks and represents the veteran community, and it's a touching and heartwarming event. It's smaller. There's probably maybe around 100 people that come to that. It's outside, so you feel safer. It's more open, and it's a real tribute to the people who serve. And my son went from being a Marine for 10 years. He was a Marine, and now he's in the Army, and he's undergoing training right now. And I have tons of people in my family who served in the military, and so I just really appreciate and honor their sacrifice for our community. And so I think that's a highly valued and important event to show our appreciation for those community members who serve and their families.
Great. Well, is there anything else you want to highlight or add about the goals this year?
Let me see. I'm gonna look through this real quick. I think just real quick in regards to facilities, since you are interviewing the township clerk, I do want to say that we are making some changes in the clerk's office and the treasurer's office to enhance security for our staff members. Elections have been a little crazy. I don't know, been noticed out there, but it's kind of been a little crazy. We haven't had issues here, but if we were to have any issues, we want to be prepared, and we want our staff to feel safe and secure. And so we will be working on some of those efforts.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me.
Thank you. I apologize for doing this from my phone, and I thank you for making accommodations.
Absolutely. With HOMTV, I'm Catherine Weddle.